Hello, friends, and welcome back to Sesh Cast. My name is GLDLX. This is Sesh Cast, a cannabis podcast for cannabis sessions, and today we are going back to the beginning to talk about the first thing you will ever do. But first, the other things. My name is GLDLX. This is a cannabis. Try again. This is a cannabis podcast that I do called Sesh Cast, where I get stoned and then I talk about something, and then I get a little higher and keep talking about it and record a podcast. And that's pretty much the gist. Pretty short, simple, not too complicated. We get high, we talk about stuff, end. If you've never listened to Seshcast before, which I'm really struggling to get started today for some reason, goodness gracious. First minute, we're not even out of disaster. If this is your first time listening to Seshcast, cool. Thank you for joining us. Much appreciated. If you are listening to me somewhere that is less than convenient for you, feel free to try another podcast location. I do believe that I am in all of them now. I am on Spotify and iTunes and Stitcher and TuneIn and Castbox and whatever other podcast apps you might use. Those are pretty much all the ones that I know. Google Play. I'm on Google Play as well, I think. So I'm on all those places. I'm also on Instagram. You can follow me at Seshcast. It's all one word. SESHCAST. You can check out the website. That is seshcast.libsyn.com. Definitely nothing exciting about that website, but it is where I post the shows. And also the show notes, which sometimes have more bits of information in them that I try to reference throughout the shows. Sometimes it happens and sometimes it doesn't. But you can check that out, and if you ever want to get a hold of me, you can let me know through my website. There's a contact link there, and I think my email address is listed as well. Yeah. So there is all of that stuff. Today, I am smoking on Jack Herrera more because when you buy in bulk, you just end up smoking the same thing for 8 years. So I dream of a day where it is either cheap, or affordable for me to go and buy 8 separate eighths of 8 different strains. That'd be great. I dream of those days to have variety and my at-home, stash. That's the word. That'd be awesome. Unfortunately, it is not cheaper to do that at all. So I end up buying 2 halves of things because that is what is cheap. And so I have great weed, but I end up smoking it for actually ever. So if you're thinking to yourself, wow, it's been maybe 10 episodes since he's talked about a strain other than Gorilla Glue number 4 and Jack Herrera, that's because it is. I would not say that I'm tired of these strains. I am enjoying them, but I've had them for a really long time. So my sincerest apologies if you are tired of hearing me talk about them. I don't really have anything else to talk about. Today I'm smoking on mostly Jack with a little bit of Gorilla Glue kind of strewn about in there. Then I just had Gorilla Glue in my grinder from last night, and this afternoon I threw some Jack in there. So probably not the cleanest Jack cut, but it's something. It's pretty tasty. I've talked about the taste a bunch. You can go back through some of the other episodes and find it. After I take a hit, though, I'll give you a little bit of an update. I don't know if I've really talked about the smell of this. Let me pop open the grinder here. LOL, my nose is so stuffed up I can barely smell it. How lame is that? Hashtag allergies. Honestly, my grinder just kind of smells like my grinder, and this weed isn't super freshly ground. It does have sort of a kind of a lemony citrus smell to it for sure. A little bit of earthiness in there. Nothing too out of the ordinary. It's a pretty straightforward strain. And like I said, I'll let you know about the taste here in a moment. Today I'm smoking out of a brand new piece of glass, which I was talking about on my Instagram live stream and on my Instagram story. Today, as in today I am recording this episode, not today when this episode comes out, but I was talking about it a bit on there, and I've got a lot of backstory on this piece, and I'm going to go into that a little bit more after I take a hit, because I do want to take a hit, and then I have a lot of stuff to ramble about before I think I really get into some of the meat of this episode. So let me go ahead and take a little bit of a hit here early, This pipe, I'll talk about it more after I hit it. So I hope you're having a great day. Thank you so much for listening to this. I hope things are well for you, and I hope if things are not well, I hope that they get better soon. I hope that you've got something to smoke on with me, and I hope that you will choose to smoke along. Cheers. Oh, excuse me. Oh, goodness. Tiny pipe. Hot hits. Oh, boy. All right. So, this pipe, let me talk about that because I talked about it there for a couple minutes and then didn't say anything about it. Not a couple minutes, like a couple seconds. I'm high. So, this pipe is by Blowfish Glassworks, which you can find on Instagram at Blowfish Glassworks with a Z, WORKZ. I'm pretty sure that's it. And if it's not it, I will correct myself. Either like I'll edit it in or I will post it in the show notes. But I'm 99% sure that it is Blowfish Glassworks on Instagram. I don't know who blew this pipe because there are a bunch of different artists who all work under that sticker. But this is a pipe made by Blowfish, who are a wholesale only blowers. So let me tell you the backstory of this pipe. Oh, and let me also say, if you've ever thought to yourself, why does he pitch his Instagram all the time? Why would I follow a podcast on Instagram? It's because I post pictures of the glass that I use in the episodes that I use them. So I talk a lot about the glass that I use because I collect glass and I like glass a lot. And I assume that maybe somebody else cares, or I hope, think, perhaps ponder that somebody else cares. And so I like to share what I'm using and what I'm smoking with. So you can always find that on Instagram. That is where the picture of this pipe will be. So, anyway, I leave for Seattle Hempfest on the day this episode comes out. In theory, when this episode comes out, I am in the air somewhere on an airplane. Probably in the Arizona region, because I think this will hit about the time of my connector. Not 100% sure. But yeah, I will be somewhere in the air on my way to Seattle Hempfest, where I will be all of next weekend, or the weekend after this episode comes out, or the weekend of August 16th through the 20th, if you are listening back to this podcast later. And I'm super, super, super excited. I am freaking lit, fam. I cannot wait to be out in Seattle. And I will talk more about Seattle after I'm done talking about this pipe. So, here's the deal. I'm flying out to Seattle. I'm probably going to smoke a bunch of weed in Seattle. I'm probably going to buy a decent amount of glass in Seattle. Here's the kicker. Glass I buy in Seattle, I'm probably not going to smoke in. Because while it is completely legal to take quote-unquote tobacco pipes on the air, in the air, on planes, that's the word, on planes, while that is completely legal, what is not legal is transporting marijuana. Now, will they go hunting for marijuana? Probably not. Actually, the TSA says that they do not actively search for marijuana, but if something looks suspicious, that they have to check it. So, with this being glass that I am smoking a federally illegal substance with, I'm going to want to make sure that whatever I buy in Seattle is going to make it the whole way home, no matter what, no questions asked, because it's probably going to be like some souvenir pieces, maybe some super, super heady glass. I haven't really decided exactly what I'm going to buy while I'm out there, but I'm definitely going to come back with more stuff for the collection. I'm very excited about that. So there will be a lot of glass coming back with me, or at least some amount of glass. And if it's used, I just can't guarantee myself that they're not going to pull it out of my bag. You know, if it's unused, then I have no problem saying you can run whatever test on that you want. You can inspect the whole thing. It is clean as an absolute whistle. Now, I know that I could totally use stuff in Seattle and clean it super, super well 100%, no problem, no residue, no trace, yada yada yada. But when you're buying a souvenir from a place that is literally on the other side of the country from you, it's hard to justify running the risk when you don't necessarily have to. And so I'm not really planning on smoking out of any of the glass I buy in Seattle, which means I'm gonna need glass to smoke with in Seattle. And so I bought this guy. This is gonna be my little travel spoon. I've yet to decide on a name for it, but I'm sure I will come up with something. And it is just this, honestly, if I'm being real with you, kinda ugly little blue and yellow spoon thing. I'm gonna turn on. I have a lot of lights in my studio, and none of them are white, so I'm gonna turn on a white overhead so I can give you maybe a better color description of this. But it is not the most attractive piece of glass in the world. I don't think. So it is like ceramic, like the color of baked unpainted ceramic, with like splashes of sort of translucent yellow that are the shade of what can only be described as urine. And then this really nice, like, royal and navy blue, with this kind of weird slashy thing going on through it, with a bit of a spiral in the coloring. And there's definitely some bubbling in the coloring, and just some like air pockets that are in there as well. So some definite imperfections for certain, in this guy. As far as looks go, it is not particularly attractive. I don't think. Some people may look at this and say that's the prettiest pipe I've ever seen. I'm not gonna do that. Um, so I bought this piece because, like all those things I just said, there's no guarantee that it's gonna make it through security every time. And if I'm traveling it all over the country or wherever else I'm going, honestly, there's no guarantee it's not gonna get lost or broken or stolen or anything that can happen to anything while you're traveling anywhere. And honestly, anything that you own, you run the risk of one of those things happening to you. But anything that you take out of the protection of your own home, you got a liability of it not coming back. And so that's why I don't travel with most of the glass in my collection. But I bought this so that I had something to travel with. Now that I just totally trashed how it looks, let me go back and say that the quality of this pipe is pretty excellent. I have zero to no complaints about the quality and makeup of this pipe whatsoever. I just don't find it to be aesthetically pleasing. It's double blown, it's good, thick glass, it's very comfortable to hold. The carb is a decent shape for the size of the bowl. The mouthpiece is very, very even. Like, I think I said it's comfortable, but it's comfortable both to hold and to smoke from. It's a good little pipe. And I'm very happy with that. And I wanted to buy something that wasn't just trash quality. You know, like they've always got the like under $10 basket, and if you're real lucky, they're gonna have an under $5 basket. And if you have never had the joy of smoking out of a glass pipe that cost you less than $5, let me tell you, you have not lived life, because that's an experience. It's an experience everybody should have. It's like smoking out of tissue paper. It's so thin, so unbelievably thin, and the whole time you're like, I just don't want to break this. Like, I want the weed, but I don't want to break this. But I wanted glass that I could travel with. Yes, there are 1,000 other options for smoking devices to take on the go. Yes, I am bringing a vape with me to Seattle. Yes, I am bringing papers with me to Seattle. Yes, I am well aware that I could get like a dugout, or I could get a silicone piece, or a whole bunch of other things. I'm not gonna, because I like glass pipes. That's just my favorite way to smoke, and I'm gonna take my favorite way to smoke with me. So that's why I bought this thing. I'm really curious to see how long and how far it makes it, and I look forward to keeping you updated with its travels around the country. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit this again, and then we're gonna go in another direction. So cheers, friends. Okay, so I'm conflicted. I'm conflicted as to whether I should talk about my plans for Seattle or jump into the meat of this episode. Um, Now that I am about a third of the way into this episode, though, I think that what I need to do is talk about the actual topic and subject of this episode, and then come back at the end and talk a little bit more about Seattle. So, if you are interested in my plans for Seattle Hempfest, and you don't really care to listen to the rest of this episode, that's fine. Feel free to jump ahead to somewhere in the last like 10 minutes or so of this episode. I don't know when that's going to happen, but later. I'll put it in later. But if you have been thinking to yourself, dear God, shut up and talk about what you named this episode, that's what I'm about to do. Thanks for bearing with me. So, today, the topic of the episode, or the title of the episode, is the word start. And I'm very proud of the picture for this. One more pitch for my Instagram, completely shamelessly, at Sesh Cast. I'm really happy with the picture for this because I just needed something that had the word start, and the Konami code was the first thing I started, or the first thing I thought of. Video games, the first thing I thought of, because I'm a nerd, but what have you. So the reason that I chose the word start for the topic of today's episode was because it was the only way I could think of to put the phrase get up or wake up or start your day or first thing in the morning into a one word phrase. And I'm talking about starting off your day and how important I think that is, and why I think that is important, and how it has personally affected me today, August 13th, in the year of our Star Lord, because it's had a major effect on me today. So, I have talked about in other episodes, not just recently, but for the duration of this podcast, that I am not always in the best of mental health, that I struggle with a lot of mental health issues. And so I have a lot of days that I have a lot of things on my list to get done, and I really struggle to accomplish all of them. I don't manage to accomplish all of them. That I just really kind of fight and gnaw my way through from day to day, and I'm often very disappointed with myself at the end of the day in the amount of things that I accomplished, and more realistically, the amount of things left on my list that I didn't get to in a day. The amount of stuff that I left on the table, or I left on the court, whatever you want to call it. The things I didn't get to in a day. So today has been a little bit different for me, which is exciting. I have not had a really good, really productive day that I felt really good about in quite a while. So it's good to have a day that I'm feeling not necessarily mentally healthy, but I'm at least feeling like I'm being productive for once, which is great because I have not felt productive in forever, which has really been bringing me down. So I kind of noticed this morning that I had a little bit more of a get up in my step. I was moving a little faster. I was just knocking things off my to-do list, one after another, running at peak efficiency. Had things planned out, had things ready, and just sort of knew what I was really going to accomplish in a day, and felt less of how am I going to get all of this stuff done, and felt more like I am going to get all of this stuff done. And that was awesome. I just haven't had a day like that in a really long time. And so I knew on my list of things to do today was to record this episode. And I was trying to come up with a topic and thinking about this thing and that thing and the other thing, and scrolling through my list of potential topics about what I could talk about. And nothing was really vibing with me, but I kept thinking about how good of a mood I was in today, or how much better about today that I felt. And so I started thinking to myself, how can I put that into a podcast? How can I do a whole episode talking about me having a good day? And what I decided to do was see if I could dig down to the roots of why today has been going so much better for me, and see if I could figure out what the difference was, or perhaps what was making me feel so much more motivated, was keeping me more productive. I just wanted to find out why today was going better so that I could then talk about it in the hopes of that being beneficial for somebody else. And so what I came down to was that I started today off differently than I've started off every day for a long time. And I started off today in a way that I used to start my days off a long time ago. And by a long time ago, I mean like a couple years. I feel good. I, I feel more back to normal than I felt in a really long time. And so I want to talk about what that was. And that was the start of my morning. And that's the name of the episode, is Start. So up, up, down, down, left, right, B, A, start, select, whatever. I wanted to talk about the start of your day, and I wanted to talk about the start of my day, and I'm going to do that after I smoke some weed. Cheers. I do think I have to be careful. This bowl is not particularly big. For one, it hits so hard. So hard. Oh, God. Oh, man. I can hear my ears ringing from that hit. And it was not big. This pipe is... Let me get a quick side-by-side here. Maybe a quarter of an inch taller than a full-size Bic lighter. That sounds accurate. That's one knuckle, two knuckles, three. Yeah, I'd say about 3 inches. So definitely not big by any means. Hot, very hot. Anyway, how did I start my day off today? What makes today different than my other days? Today I got my ass out of bed. I set an alarm this morning. I set an alarm every morning. Because blessed are the few who can wake up without an alarm. That, my friends, is a gift. I wish that was a thing I had. Because I literally, I don't like to just kind of throw this word around. But at the same time, sometimes I do just throw this word around. I don't know. Take from this what you feel. But I get, triggered by the sound of my alarm. Because my alarm is the old school, rotary phone ringtone on an iPhone. Mine's on an iPod because I don't have an iPhone. Go Team Android. But I don't have my iPod down here, nor do I have anything that has that sound effect on it down here. But the high pitched rotary phone ringing noise, you know what it is. And I hear that out in my day to day life, and I get a start. I get short of breath. I have a kind of moment every time that happens, because I feel like it's time to wake up, I've been living in some sort of dream, I'm in some sort of lost reality, or second space, that anytime I hear that, I'm I gotta come back. So anybody who can wake up without an alarm, good for you. I'm happy for you. I know you might hate it, but I'm jealous. Anyway, I set an alarm today, and I got out of bed 20 minutes after my alarm got off. Now, that might not seem like much, but that is a huge accomplishment, because over the last couple years, with exceptions of days that I've had to go to work, I've struggled to get out of bed in less than an hour, if not 2 hours. And I think that that's been dragging me down really hard. Actually, I know that that's been dragging me down really hard. That's not some profound realization by any means. I regret almost every day how much time I spend in bed. Especially because when I was in college and younger, when I first started setting an alarm and waking myself up, I would set 3 alarms. So if I wanted to get up at 8 a.m., I would set one for 8. I would set one for 8, 8:03, and 8:05. Always. That was just when I got up. And that was sort of the what's the word I'm looking for? The formula? Yeah. That was the formula. That was the method. That was the foolproof way to wake me up every day, because I hated the alarm that I had. And so it would go off and I would get up immediately. And if I snoozed the first one, I would only get 3 minutes to snooze. And then you couldn't snooze the second one because the first snooze was about to come off. and then you would get the 5-minute alarm, and then the other snooze would come off, and it would just be constant alarms. So I would do it that way. My first alarm would get off before it would even ring for like 2 seconds. I would roll over, turn it off, get right out of bed every day, all the time. Whether it was Monday, whether it was Thursday, whether it was Saturday, every day I was up, I was out of bed, and I was moving. And when I got out of college, that started to go away. Actually, maybe my last year or so of college, that started to go away, where I just wasn't really doing that anymore. I switched, instead of 8:03, and 8:05, I switched to 8 and 8:05. 8 being I snooze the first alarm, 8:05 being the, all right, it's been 5 minutes, get out of bed. And so I added this 5-minute snooze into my day, and that 5-minute snooze just evolved over the years until now, where it's, I set an alarm for 8 and 8:05, the 8:05 alarm gets off, I turn that alarm off, then I lay in bed for an hour and a half, either writhing around, debating about going back to sleep, or surfing social media, or doing a whole bunch of things that are not getting out of bed and moving. And then I think to myself every night when I go to bed, all right, what time do I need to get up tomorrow to do all the things I need to do, to accomplish all the things on my list? What time do I need to move? And then I say, okay, that's when I'm going to set an alarm for. And so then the next day, when I set an alarm for 8 and I don't get out of bed until 10, hello, water bottle that just attacked me from the top of the couch, and I don't get up until 10, that's 2 hours of my day that I had planned to be doing something that I can't do something anymore because it's gone, because I laid in bed. And that's really been dragging me down, and it's this, like, it's a cycle. It plays off itself. You spend a couple days not getting up, and then you start feeling bad about not getting up, and because you're not getting as much accomplished in a day, your day feels more rushed and more panicked, and so then it makes it harder to get out of bed the next day, because your last day was so rushed and panicked, you don't want to do it all again, and it's this vicious cycle. I mean, that's how mental health works. If this is new to you, which I guess perhaps there are some people who don't think this way or who have never had that experience, so let me explain to you that, like, this is a lot of what anxiety is. You have a day where you spend some extra time in bed, then you regret it, and then it affects the rest of your day. And so your day is of poor quality, and then the next morning you don't want to get out of bed because your last day was of poor quality, and so you're afraid that your next day will be of poor quality, and so you stay in bed, thus making your day poor quality. See how that works? And so today I broke that cycle. Today I got out of bed and it only took me 20 minutes, which is not great, but a drastic improvement over 2 hours, and something that I'm honestly proud of, because today I told myself I'm going to get up at 10, and I got out of bed at 10:20, and I've accomplished, like, almost everything on my list today, and not once have I felt like, oh my god, how am I going to get all this stuff done? Now, I leave for Seattle on Thursday, which is across the country, and as far as my list for things to do before I leave to go to Seattle goes, I am in dire panic mode. But my list of things to do today has pretty much all been checked off the list, which is great, and I'm so happy about it. So, I think that what I have learned today is that I now have my own anecdotal evidence to tell people it's not beneficial to lay in bed and to snooze the day away. If that's how you treat yourself, if it's your Saturday, if you don't have anything to do today, be my freaking guest, man. I look forward to the next day that I have off, and don't have a list of things to do today, in which I will not get out of bed, and that will be the grandest, and I look forward to it. But it's just not my days right now. So, I think that I now have anecdotal evidence to what I hear all the time, which is, don't bother with the snooze button, get out of bed, all of those things. Get your day started early, get up and do 5 jumping jacks, get up and do 20 jumping jacks, get up and splash water in your face, whatever it is. I got up today and I took a shower, and it just motivated me and wound my crank up, and I've just been going all day long, and it's great. So I today didn't mix cannabis into that show. I don't have any problems with wake and bakes. Some people are great at them. Your boy is not. I struggle to get high and do things. It's just not my favorite thing to do. I'm very much I want to be high and I want to enjoy being high, and that's got a lot to do with the medicinal reasons that I consume cannabis. So sometimes it's hard for me to get up in the morning, blast through a bowl, take a huge dab, whatever, and roll on like nothing ever happened. I smoke a lot of CBD in the morning. I smoke a lot of CBD all day long, just CBD vape juice, zero THC content, or minimal THC content. That's sort of legal in all 50 states. CBD. Um, so I roll with a lot of that, but I don't often wake and bake because it slows me down from moving in the morning. So what I'm trying to say now is that I don't want to sound like I'm trashing the wake and bake. Some people live that life, and I'm happy that you can. What I'm saying is that if you are a daily wake and bake person, and your wake and bake is really slowing down your day, and you are feeling like every day is panicked and you never have enough time and you just need to move a little quicker in the morning, and you wake and bake every day, maybe try changing that. I'm not one to ever say that cannabis is bad or negative or cannot be beneficial. I am one to say that for many people, cannabis zaps motivation. I don't think that's bad. I don't think that's always true. But I think that there are a lot of people in this world who just don't perform at as high an output rate while they are stoned that they would while they are sober. Again, not a bad thing. I'm just trying to speak truthfully here about the honest effects of cannabis. There are millions of people in this world. On some days, I am one of them who can say, I will do this better if I am high. I can do this better if I have consumed some cannabis. I can do this better if I am medicated, because for a lot of people who are this way, cannabis is a medication for them. There are many people who will say, I can do this better, I can do this more quickly, I will be more motivated if I smoke. And that's great. But I think that there are plenty of people who are not that way. And whether you smoke for a medicinal reason or for a recreational reason, being stoned should not be ruining your day, even if it is indirectly ruining your day. And that is what I want to challenge people to consider maybe here at the end of this episode. I'm going to take another hit of this because I'm running a little short on time. And I've still got a decent amount of weed, so cheers. Holy shit, it's 4:20. Oh, excuse my language. I try not to curse on this podcast, but it's 4:20. I don't know if I've ever recorded at 4:20 before because I always miss it. That's cool. Hey, happy 4:20, friends, even if you're not listening to this at 4:20, because this episode comes out at noon. So, anyway, the point of this episode was not to say don't smoke. The point of this episode was not to say don't wake and bake. The point of this episode honestly had nothing to do with cannabis. The point of this episode was don't waste your day away in bed and then beat yourself up about it. Don't waste your day away in bed and feel like because the day that you had after laying in bed in the morning was hard or difficult or stressful or anxiety inducing, don't feel like the next day will be that way. I'm just trying to encourage people to consider the lifestyle change of getting out of bed a little bit more quickly, getting up and starting to move. Now, whether that is getting up and getting in the shower, getting up and doing some calisthenics, getting up and drinking a cup of coffee, whatever it is, get out of bed, do something that will start the forward progress of your day, because it's an object in motion remains in motion, an object at rest remains at rest. It's the laws of physics, and they apply, I think, to our internal energy and to our general existence. Someone at rest remains at rest, and someone in motion remains in motion. The thing that changes that is motivation and whatever the force is to propel you. And so if you're laying in bed, it's of course difficult to get out of bed. You're at rest. You want to remain at rest, but find your motivation, find whatever it is to push yourself up out of bed, and then find your IRL motivation. Find whatever it is that will get you in motion and move you forward. Because once you're moving forward, it is easier to continue to move forward. I've been recording Sesh Cast in the morning a lot lately, and it's been hard. Like I just said, I struggle to get high and do things. And so when I'm waking up and smoking 2 bowls at 10 in the morning, it's tough. But this is kind of the end of my day. It's 4:20. I've gotten almost everything off my list today, and everything else is scheduled for like after 7. So I'm in my break time, and I'm about to go get dinner. It's a perfect time to sit down and record an episode, and I'm really happy about it. I feel really good about it. So that is that is my elevator pitch for getting out of bed early. I would also encourage you to start your day with a gigantic bottle of water, and perhaps even before you drink coffee. But that's a podcast for another day. So that is the episode. I want to shift gears back to my plans for Seattle. Here's the update for the next couple weeks. I think I hit it right on the nail. I think I hit the nail right on the head that it's going to be about 10 minutes before the end of the episode. So, hello from the past. If you fast forwarded to the future, welcome back. If you've listened to me talk for a while, thank you. And if you skipped ahead, I'm no hard feelings, but consider going back and listening to the rest of the show because I think that you might enjoy it. But Seattle. So I will be at Hempfest all 3 days. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, which I know when this episode comes out is going to be tomorrow, Friday, or tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, and 2 days from now. But whatever. If you are going to be in the Seattle Hempfest area, please reach out to me, get in contact with me, come and find me. I would love to meet you. I would love to say hello. I would love to talk to you for a minute. I would love to record with you for a hot second. I would love to sesh with you. I would love to meet you. That'd be great. Come and find me. Shoot me a DM on Instagram. My phone will literally always be with me because I am an addicted millennial. I will be posting a lot on Instagram this weekend. Like a lot. I am planning on also recording some content, which I'm super excited about. So I am meeting up with at least my buddy Steve from the Baked and Awake podcast, another guy from the Podcast Builders League, somebody who I talk about pretty often. He was actually the reason I got into the Podcast Builders League, or the person who brought me in, and we connected like when I put out the first episode of this podcast, and he's just been one of my podcast friends from the very beginning. So we live on opposite sides of the country, and I'm finally going to be in his quadrant of the United States to hopefully sit down and bang out a couple episodes, whether it's for him, whether it's for me, I don't really know yet. Very much looking forward to that. So, Baked and Awake is a cannabis and conspiracies podcast. You can find him at Baked and Awake Show. I think it's Baked and Awake Show on Instagram. I suck. I don't remember anybody's Instagram today. I'm going to try to continue to talk while I take my phone off airplane mode and go to Instagram to confirm all of these handles that I'm butchering. But you can check him out on the gram at, oh, come on, phone. Do the loading. Do the thing. Baked. Phone, why you do this? I need a new phone. Baked _and_awake. That is the Baked and Awake Instagram. Check him out on there. Check out his podcast. It's great. I like it a lot. To go back to Blowfish Glassworks, it is not CKZ. It is Blowfish, BLOWFISH, Glassworks, WORKZ. Yeah, that's it. Those are the Instagrams I needed. Whew, okay, we made it through that. So next week I'll be in Seattle. I will be meeting up with Steve to record something. I don't know what yet, but something. I'm also going to try and make some other collaborations happen. Don't know whether or not they will. It depends on schedules once we all get out there, but we're going to see. I am also bringing some cameras with me. Hopefully going to put together a vlog, maybe? A walkthrough, perhaps? I'm going to put together some sort of video content, hopefully from Hempfest, which I will most certainly upload to my WeedTube channel. So you can find me on the WeedTube. That is theweedtube.com at Sesh Cast. I have an video, and it is 30 seconds of awkward promo-y goodness. So check that out if you like. And hopefully I will have that up soon after the weekend is done. We'll see. I also have in episode 35, this is episode 33, so we've got the next episode, which will more than likely be some sort of recap from Hempfest. That's kind of my game plan. I'm probably going to record it Monday or Sunday night before we take off to head back to the east side of the country. Just a big old recap from my weekend. So that will be episode 34. Episode 35 is going to be another morning's episode, and will hopefully come with a very, very exciting update. Hopefully a way that I can sort of just involve myself in the community a little bit more, and hopefully be able to more directly connect people with a product that I am very, very happy to own and to use daily, and I think that should be shared widely with the world. So hopefully I have that coming soon. Let's see here. That's that update. That's the schedule. You've got a Hempfest recap coming next week. You've got a morning's episode with big updates, hopefully coming as 35, and then we will more than likely get into pre-recorded or done Hempfest collaborational content. So have that to look forward to coming soon as well. Whew. Did I get everything? Oh, I have a new computer that I can't freaking figure out how to get set up. Not happy about that. Happy that I have a new computer. Hopefully this computer won't crash and I won't lose episodes anymore. Not happy that I can't seem to transfer any of my stuff onto it. I need help. I'm working on it. Hopefully soon. Updates to come. I'm on Instagram at Sesh Cast. I am in all of the podcasty places. I started my day off well today, and I feel like this episode has gone pretty well, due largely in part because of that. I hope that you can start whatever day is next for you. I hope that you can start it off well, and I hope that you started off today well. And if you didn't, don't beat yourself up about it. Soldier through the rest of the day and start tomorrow off on the right foot. I'm going to hit this one more time, and I'm going to bounce. Cheers, friends. My name is GLDLX. This has been Sesh Cast. Thank you so much for listening.